in partnership with the Gordon Parks Foundation, the American Black Film Festival, and American Airlines. Thank all of you for being here today for our conversation and panel discussion that not only salutes Mr. Parks' contributions to the arts, but also delves deeper into the perception of African Americans and our future in the arts. Now I would like to introduce our panelist to you, David Parks. David Parks is an accomplished filmmaker and photographer, a published writer, and a publicist. His photojournalistic career has taken him to the Caribbean, Europe, Vietnam, and coast to coast in the U.S. I give to you David Parks. Joy is a Houston native, and she has worked for the Kansas City Star, the New York Post, and has written for Money, People, Vibe, Shape, Town and Country, and many other national magazines. Joy Sewing. Ray is the photography instructor at the esteemed Jack Yates Senior High School. He's been there since 1993. Ray is responsible for teaching the fundamentals of photography to the advanced techniques of digital imaging to more than 100 students a year. Ray Carrington III. Our next panelist is Rebecca Briscoe. She's the national features correspondent for Houston Style magazine. Ms. Briscoe has garnered interviews with Ambassador Andrew Young, Tina Knowles, Joe Namath, Deion Sanders, LeBron James, and supermodel Beverly Johnson. The former Ebony Fashion Fair model's credentials are impressive. She holds a BS in education from LSU and a master's in public administration from Texas Southern University. Rebecca Briscoe. Talking to David first. Just give us a little information about your father. And we've already said that you're not going to give us any juicy gossip. So tell us a little bit about your esteemed father.
The old man was good. I think that video you just saw there sort of, it was very touching for me to watch that again.
I want to ask Joy Sewing a question. From your perspective, what did he do for not only African Americans, but America in general and the world?
He captured the human condition in a way that we hadn't seen before. And as I'm in the job that I'm now covering fashion, I realized also that he transformed the way we cover fashion as well.
Ray, what would you say when asked about his contributions and how it impacted you as a photographer?
I would just have to say that culturally, if we began culturally, I began as a black man. Kind of hard to miss that one. So now you get another black man who has done so many dynamic things, and it frees you up to believe that you can do anything.
I realized Gordon Parks' the legacy as a young child because my father from Port Arthur, Texas, and grandfather, he was the first African-American photographer in Southeast Texas. And one of the historic force that I am proud of is being the first minority publication to cover the ESPYs, which has never been done in its 20-year inception.
David, do you think when your father was going about the business of working that he realized the kinds of changes he was making?
Really never had a chance to sit back and rest on his laurels and suck in. We're always working ahead.
Rebecca, are you saddened that we're still having to deal with these same issues again and again in terms of diversity in this particular area?
I'm not. And also by having an extensive educational background as a professor at HCC, I let my students know that you use your education for access and influence. And sometimes if you're not given an opportunity, create your own opportunity. That's the purpose of being educated, so you don't have to depend on someone to put a roadblock on there. What she's saying. But I also think there's an opportunity for mentorship and for helping young students and helping those. And I think you're doing that, and I think all of us up here are kind of helping the next generation move forward.
David Parks, Rebecca Briscoe, Joy Sewing, and Ray Carrington III for joining us on today's discussion. And we must remember this man because he was quite a man. And whether we know it or not, he touched all of our lives directly and indirectly.